Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to generate all sorts of content and media using AI. It's very simple, so let's go ahead and get started. Before we begin, I'm going to quickly show you how all of these workflows work. And there are 4 types of content and media that you're able to generate using Mind Studio. There's really 5, but we're going to talk about 4 main ones here. The first is text generation, and text generation is very simple. In fact, we've done this in many other videos. It requires just a generate text block, and you just prompt the AI to generate all kinds of different text. And in this example, I'm generating a long form article about a topic that we provide, and we're giving it an example output. And when we use an AI like this, you can see here I have an AI that has a little menu, and when we use AI to generate text, we can have it create all kinds of different outputs: articles, emails, poems, any sort of text output you can create. So I've typed in black holes here, and it is now writing a long form article about black holes. Now, the next type of media generation is images. And for the generate image block, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need an image prompt. And you can see here that I'm just using a simple user input to bring that prompt in via a variable. And when we generate an image, we create an output variable. That output variable is going to be displayed, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And you have access to all kinds of different image generation models. I think Ideogram V2 is the default model, and there are some settings that we'll talk about when we build this. And then we can display that image using some special markdown syntax, which we will cover in a second. When we run that, if we go into a new draft, we can generate an image. I can say an astronaut on the moon, and it will begin to generate an image for us. The image generation time varies depending on the model you're using. So while this is generating, let's quickly look at the next type of media that we're going to generate. We can also generate audio, and this has the exact same flow. Only in this case, we're using the text-to-speech block. And this text-to-speech block just includes the text that we'd like to convert to audio. Again, you have different model settings, and some models like GPT-4o Mini text-to-speech allow you to add even additional instructions on how the voice itself should sound, and has controls for the speed and the output. This also has a very specific way to display this inside of a display content block, which we'll talk about in a second. And we can see here that we now have our astronaut in space. That was an image that was generated. Let's go ahead and we will reload this, and we will generate some audio. We'll say something like an astronaut in space. And we can begin to generate this audio. This is relatively quick, and when you display audio, you get this little player where you can display this. And it plays the audio. You have several different voices you can choose from. And then the last content and media that you can generate is video. And video, you use the generate video block. And again, the process is very similar. We bring in a prompt, and that prompt can be generated by a human, like we do here in the user input, or it can also be enhanced and generated by AI using a generate text block. And when we generate the video, it's going to output the URL of the video. We have many different models to choose from here as well, and we display the video using some special syntax. And you can access all of that special syntax simply by going into Quick Help. And from here, you can see at the bottom, we have some snippets that you can copy in order to showcase the image or audio player or the video player. And this takes a little bit longer, but I'm going to go ahead and get this started. And we're going to generate a video, and we're going to say an astronaut floating in space. and we're going to start that video generation. So while this is going, let's go ahead and build this out. So I'm going to start with a new project, and what we're going to do is we are going to build an AI that generates a full article along with a cover image and a video and an audio player so that you can listen to the entire article. Let's go ahead and start building. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a user input, and that's going to get us the topic that we'd like to write about. So this is a very common pattern that we've used. We use the long text, we name our variable topic, and we can say, what would you like your long form article to be about? They can type their answer there. Let's jump back into the main workflow. Next up, we are going to generate our text. And for our text generation, we can give it some very simple instructions. We can say, write a long form article about the following topic. And this is a very basic flow here. I'm going to put those opening and closing tags. You want to make sure that those closing tags have that slash, and then we can include our topic variable in between those tags. So you can see I use those double curly braces and am selecting topic. And then I'm going to give it some additional instructions. Make sure to use markdown formatting. And we can provide an example output. So let's go example output. And again, those closing tags. And we can begin to create our template for our article. So I'm going to put title here. And the hashtags are just markdown. You can check out how that works in a separate video, but for the purposes of this video, you can simply just follow along. And we're going to say a compelling hook for the article. And then we can begin to add our section headers. Section header. We can say some multiple paragraphs about the section. And we can add a list of key takeaways. And then maybe we add a couple of these sections in here so that it knows we want more than one. And maybe we can include some instructions. Add as many sections as you'd like. There we go. So we have our prompt for our generate text block. And since we're having a multi-step workflow, we are going to want to actually save this output as a variable as well. So we're going to call this text. And now we can begin to move on to generating our image. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take the content of that article and we're going to feed it into another generate text block, and that's going to generate our image description. So I'm going to go ahead and click generate text. And in this case, I'm going to say something like, based on the following content, write up a simple image prompt for an AI image model. Perfect, and we'll save this as a variable. We'll call this variable image description. And then we can begin to generate our image here. So I'm going to move this down here. We're going to add another block, and that's going to be the generate image block. And I'm just going to quickly add a note here. And this can be generate image. So there we go. Now we can see that this note is about generating an image. And we have a generate text block here. We have the variable name image description that is being generated by AI. So let's go ahead and just use that as our prompt. That's going to be our prompt here. And then our output is going to be the image. This is going to be the URL of the image that is generated. Now, I am going to use Ideogram V2, but you obviously have access to many different image models. So I recommend you play around with them, check out the ones that you like. And there are some settings that are specific to the model, like Turbo, Magic Prompt, the style. Typically, most models will have an aspect ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and use this 16:10 aspect ratio. And we don't need to modify any other settings. And just like that, we are generating an image. Now let's go ahead and we're going to add a couple of other blocks, and we are going to generate audio. And this audio can be found inside of all blocks, and we can click on text to speech. And this text to speech block is simply going to create an audio version of the article that we are generating. So I'm going to go ahead and take the variable name text, and this is the text that we'd like to convert into audio. We can simply use the variable text, and it's going to use that specific text to transcribe into audio. So now I can name my variable audio, and I'm going to go ahead and select a model. And I like, why don't we go ahead and use 11 labs, and we can see that this allows us to use as much audio as we'd like. And we're going to use the voice of, let's say, Callum. I don't know what that sounds like, but we can most certainly find out together. We can also choose different models from 11 labs. So I'm going to go ahead and select 11 Turbo 2.5. And this should generate more accurately, faster. We'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and add another note here so that we know that this is generating audio. Generate audio. It's always good to kind of keep track of the things that you are building. Now let's go ahead and generate our video. So I'm going to add another block, and this block is going to be the generate video block. And when we generate video, again, we need a prompt for that video. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this generate text prompt, and we're going to copy it, and we're going to paste it in using Command C and Command V, because you can copy and paste blocks. Let's go ahead and link this up here, and we'll link this. And now we can say, based on the following content, write up a simple image prompt for an AI video model. And maybe instead of an image prompt, we need a video prompt. And from here, we can then call this variable video description. And just like in generate image, we're just simply going to put the prompt in here and add video description. And then the output is going to be the video URL. Now we also can select various models. I'm going to go ahead and use Ray 2, and we will use this model here. And let's go ahead and add another note here, and we'll call this one generate video. So now we have all of our models. We are generating text, we are generating images, we are generating audio, and we are generating video. Now, one thing that I did notice is I did not provide it the content to generate the prompts from. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in that text into both my generate text block. I can create those tags, and we'll call this content. We'll add those closing tags /content, and we will add our text variable here, and we'll copy that and also use it inside of our video prompt generation here. So now what we need to do is we need to actually display all of this together. And the way that we do that is we're going to use a display content block. So we can display all of this media all together in a single block. And the way that we do that is by adding what we'd like to showcase. So for example, we want to showcase the thumbnail and then the article. And maybe we even want to put the audio before the article. And maybe we put the video at the very end. So let's go ahead and do that. In order to display an image, we need to use some special syntax. And we can find that syntax inside of Quick Help. Now, if I scroll down, you can see that we have this little snippet that we can copy. And when we paste it into our display content block, it'll look something like this. It'll show an exclamation point. It'll have this alt text, which we can go with or without. And then it has our variable. Now, our variable for our image is called image. And so we're going to copy that, and inside of the display content block, we'll paste that in. Next, we want to include our audio that we're generating. This is a player that's going to allow people to listen to the audio that we're generating. So again, we can find that snippet inside of Quick Help. If we scroll to the bottom, we can see that there's this display audio player. We can simply copy that, and then back in the configuration, we can display that. And you can see that it's also using a variable here, but instead of my audio variable, we called our variable audio. So we're going to copy that and replace it here. There we go. Next, we want to display our actual long form article. So that uses the variable text. And we can simply add those double curly braces, and it's going to display the text there. And then the last thing we want to display is the video. And again, we can look at Quick Help. We can scroll down and see that there is a snippet here on how to display video. And back in our configuration, we can paste that in. And instead of my video variable, we can use the variable that we assigned called video. So we'll copy that and paste it in. And just like this is going to display all of the content that we're generating. So why don't we go ahead and check it out and see if it's all working. Let's open up the preview. We will open up the draft agent of this AI agent. And we can say our long form article is about black holes. And let's see what it generates. Now, this might take a second. It might take a few minutes because we're using multiple models to accomplish all this work. So I'm just going to quickly skip ahead to where it's finished, and we'll check out the end result. Okay, we are back, and let's go ahead and take a look at everything that was generated. You can see here that we have our image, and it looks like it created this image of a black hole as our cover image. It also generated the audio, and you can see the audio player here. I'm not sure if you can hear it. Let's try it out. So it's got kind of a British accent, and if you can't hear it, you'll have to trust me on that. It's got our entire article here, and then at the very bottom, it has our video, and here's our video of a black hole. So, like I said, creating content is very easy, and generating media is very easy. To summarize, you need a prompt for whatever you are looking to generate. You can then generate that using various types of blocks, whether that's generate image, text to speech, generate video, and then you display all of these things using this special syntax. So there's that image, there's the audio, here's the text, and here is the video. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, leave a like and subscribe. If you have a question, leave your comment in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.